Okay, hello and welcome everyone to the Cartographer community meeting. Today is December 15th. And well, this is the last community meeting of this year. We will be resuming on the second week of January. So we hope you can spend time in the holidays with your close ones.
And your
But yes,
supply chains.
and your supply chain, yes. And yeah, but as per community meetings, this is the last one of 2021. Right. Let me share my screen now. There you go. Okay. Again, welcome, Milan, Emily, and thank you for being here. Um, okay, for the TLDR, I don't know what's. I'm sure there are a lot of new things in the project this week, but I was wondering if there was something that was um, you worthy to mention here. If someone else could drop something here, um, or what the team is working on right now.
Still significant changes to docs coming and
Yeah.
examples. That's
Oh,
what's
that's great.
been happening a lot this week.
Cool.
And I think there's a focus on security scanning for the upcoming week.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. Thank you. So let me put that here. That's an example.
I think even if you just copied and pasted from last week, it'd be pretty accurate.
Let me see. So, yeah, architecture, upgrade testing, infrastructure testing, more complete samples. Yeah, pretty much. That's it. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. Someone is doing the dishes. From previous meetings, from the previous meeting, the action items. The first one, create an issue for refactoring informants. I believe is this one. Mari, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe is this issue, right?
That's right.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. It's there. Regarding the permissions, PR, I don't know, Rush. Probably this already happened, but
No, they're not present at the moment. I mean,
yeah,
James is, but we need Stephen, and there are quite a few. I think the team is interested in the security stance, making sure that we nail that down first. So that's the first thing I'm going to ask for. We believe the security stance should be that a developer cannot change or interfere with the outcome of a supply chain, but they should be able to see the objects that were stamped so that they can debug and understand what actually happened to their code. So yeah, I'm going to get around to it in the new year, I suspect.
cool. Got it. Great. There was another one story to recommend K3.
I have not done that yet. No.
Cool. No problem. In progress, let's say. Cool. And I've been talking to other OSS projects tech leads regarding release numbering opinions. It's just that opinions, like everyone asks or gives a different response. So kind of the common pattern I found on the responses I received was that first step was trying to define what is considered the public API code base, and then any breaking change, any outstanding issue that that will cause a breaking change to the public API is what's considered 1.0. And that's it. That's the summary of the conversations I had on this topic.
So I think we all probably agree with Semver, which is what that 1.0 part is a part of. The issue we face is pre 1.0. What versioning are we going to use? I think we were suggesting before we decide that we're generally available, it might be worth treating the point releases like for I can't remember the names of them. Instead of the 0.1
Minors.
minors, thank you. Yeah, instead of the majors, we use the minors as breaking change indicators until we get there. And regarding the define what is considered the public API, where should we put that? Because I think we've got a pretty clear idea of what represents the public API, but where can we put that definition? Should that be in contributing?
Well, not sure, but we can explore that. We'll explore that. Yeah.
Because I'd be happy
So
to take an issue up and do that.
Mhm.
I'm curious, Rash, if you think the API. When I think what's our API, it's the CRD. It's like
It's
the
the
publicly
CRDs plus
exposed
package
spec
API.
and the.
That's why it's called API. And it's very common when you consume it that when you're consuming downstream for any reason, which people will do and have already done, that directory be considered also part of your public API. Yeah. So yes, the CRDs and that directory.
The whole
this
package
regard-
directory.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, no package APIs. Yeah, the API directory, the one that specifies how you could consume them directly. All right. So the
Do we have
in-memory
anything
objects.
in there other than our CRDs? Or are you just saying like we could, in theory,
CRDs
in the
is the
future, have
YAML.
something else?
No, I'm saying that the CRDs is the YAML. So the shape of a resource is one API. The other API is the Golang API that you can consume. Yeah, they're bucketed together because we use Kube Builder, right? Which generates the CRDs for us out of our API, which is great. But I still think we should treat it clearly as the API. There are some private methods in there, or not private, but methods that we don't need to be exposing as part of the API, which is the validations. But, and I don't think that would matter so much, but validation behavior is probably part of the public API. Anyway, I'm just happy to do a PR that we could review together if we wanted to talk about that. But it's probably worth quantifying what is the public API.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. Okay. For the open mic discussion, I have one. We have had many improvements in the docs and many more to come. So wanted to capture user feedback. Well, I considered using GitHub discussions, but the fact that I need to ask admin permissions, not only to enable it, but probably later on to moderate discussions. Again, I will need to ask temporary admin permissions. Doesn't make it really scalable. So I use an issue, the call for the community, and I will send this through the mailing list, the Slack channel, etc. Is the goal of this issue is to remain open, just capturing feedback in the form of comments, and anything that users, contributors, maintainers would like to point out improvements, opportunities for docs should be here, so we can track it and probably turn it into action, right? So your feedback is much appreciated. Okay.
So that actually triggered some thoughts for me when I saw that come up this morning. I feel, I mean, it does, maybe now's not the time, but soon we should have some guidelines for documentation as well. I think recently Emily modified some of the install docs to actually greatly simplify the docs, but doesn't necessarily simplify the installation experience. But there's a certain point where we've been discussing that clear and concise docs and tutorials are different things. And maybe, you know, learning how to get through, learning how to deal with Kubernetes to get something installed or to simplify the install process is better than trying to over document the process. And we also discussed this week certain things that would make more sense as blog posts. I can't remember the example that happened to us this week, but we've mentioned it a few times now.
Using cap to install, I think.
Using cap to install, yeah. You know, I think it was like not in related to install. There was something else we were talking about too, and it was like demonstrating
air gapped installation.
I think that's right. Yeah, and it's those sorts of things that I think are better. If we keep scoping out our docs to include large tutorials, etc., there's a lot to maintain, a lot of surface area to cover as things change. Whereas people understand that like blog posts will age out, and that they can be, and that people can contribute, and it's a space for contributions. We've got places for our own blog posts. People can make their own personal blog posts and let us know about them, and we'll, you know, happily mention them. Like maybe there's a way to put good hyperlinks to other people's blog posts if we like them, some sort of aggregator on our blog post page. But that, I think all of that contributing behavior, maybe we need to talk about that in lieu of this story too, because people are going to say a lot of things like, I don't know how to install all of these things. And it's like, well, we have to have a guideline that says we're not going to walk you through learning how to use Kubernetes, right? But at the same time, it would be maybe nice to like maybe ask the community, does someone want to write a blog post on this to help people, that sort of thing, so that we can focus on core contributions.
Yeah, that's the one of the goals of this idea is to again, if we find a common pattern of you know, frequently asked questions or common pitfalls in users, that will probably turn into, yeah, something where the community can actually contribute in a blog post or something. You know, it always it won't result always in expanding the docs. That's not the goal. The goal is to capture the feedback, and then we will realize how to handle that. And the fact that it's public will give opportunity for someone else also to collaborate there. So yeah, but great ideas there.
I guess to kind of, I guess, Rash, in what you're talking about makes sense to me. Some of the stuff that we have in the saying some of the stuff that we currently have written up, let's cleave it out and turn it into a blog post. I know I talked with you and Emily when you were looking at the stuff about installing in an air-gapped environment, and like that, I would be a total thumbs up. Yeah, let's take that. Let's make that something we don't maintain. Make it a blog post. Do we, now that we've discussed it in the community meeting, are we saying like, yeah, let's empower the maintainers to make those decisions, or do we need to see, is that something we're adopting? I'm a thumbs up on it.
Yeah, I actually think that we should try and ratify some guidelines on what decisions we make for exclusion, right? So how we keep the docs focused, right? So I recommend that we have a story for that and that we write that into contributing, right? And then beyond that, I think the thing that's great about like saying then please use community submissions for things that are going to be helpful and interesting is that there's only one thing, is that you're empowered, everyone's empowered, because everyone's allowed to write about this thing, right? Everyone's allowed to say what they want to say. I feel like if we think that our blog post is valuable enough, we have direct access to the docs, so we can put blog posts directly in ours, right? Or you can do your own personal blog if that feels better for you. And so the second part to me is that we should definitely have a way to aggregate community interest, so that someone visiting our website is able to find like I think we should definitely have a Twitter feed, and I think we should have a news section, which could just be the blog page formatted in a more news format, so that we could put items that we've seen referenced externally and just reference them internally. And once we've knocked those two things out, then maintenance should be easy of that sort of thing. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and absolutely it makes sense. Thank you for that, Raj and Wishima. Okay, that's great. Anything else you would like to share or discuss here? No. Okay. So, well, I appreciate your time so much, and happy holidays, happy New Year. And we'll see you in the new year. Thank you.